Throughout time, people across the world told each other tales of how they came to be, of heroes and monsters, romance and tragedy, death and rebirth. Mythology helped shape the ancient world, explaining the unexplainable. This is Mythology Unleashed. In the earliest days of the world, amidst the Dreamtime, there lived a gigantic frog named Tiddalik. He was bigger than any other frog in the world, and wandered about the plains of modern-day Riverina. On one particularly warm and dry morning, he woke up feeling very, very thirsty. He made his way down to the water, and proceeded to indulge himself, quenching his great thirst. He drank, and he drank, and he kept on drinking, until all of the water in the entire world was gone, disappeared within the great frog. When the other animals arrived at the rivers and the billabongs for their morning drink, they found them all dried up, nothing left but mud hardening in the hot sun. The animals were quite upset. They knew that Tiddalik had drunk all the water. There was no water to be found for miles, and it was uncertain when it would rain next. In no time at all, the world's flora and fauna would die of thirst. They knew they needed to come up with a plan to get the water back. But how? They thought and thought and thought a hole in the grass, until they realized that the best way to get the water back was to make the big frog laugh. If they could make him laugh, then all the water would come spilling out of his mouth and back out into the world. The first creature to try and make him laugh was the echidna. She rolled herself up into a tight little ball, and rolled up and down the bank of the billabong like a rambunctious little ball. The kangaroo laughed, and so did the emu, but Tiddalik barely paid her any mind. The second animal to try and make Tiddalik laugh was the wombat. The wombat stood up on his hind legs and danced around in a circle until he fell over in the dirt. The cockatoo laughed, as did the guana, but Tiddalik remained stone-faced. The next animal to make the attempt was the kookaburra. She perched herself on a branch close to Tiddalik and told him her funniest story. It was so funny that she burst out laughing, but Tiddalik would not laugh. He just sat there, unamused, with his big belly full of all the water. As the animals began to lose hope of their situation, Nabunum, the eel, decided to try and make Tiddalik laugh. She began to dance and dance, wriggling and squirming all over the ground, until she eventually tied herself into a knot. The knot was so tight that she struggled and struggled to untie herself, but she was stuck. Tiddalik watched the eel struggle around, trying in vain to untie herself, and he let out a small chuckle. But that small chuckle turned into a rumbling in his belly, until it turned into a great big belly laugh. The water came gushing out of his mouth, and filled the rivers, lakes, and billabongs back up once again. The animals rejoiced as their plan succeeded, and they proceeded to quench their thirsts. The eel, having been returned to the water, managed to untangle herself, and proudly danced beneath the water. From then on, Tiddalik, all of his descendants, and every creature that walks the earth, made sure not to take more than their fill of water or anything else that others may need to survive.